like, comment, and subscribe.
So for every Let's Talk Jinx, when the patch drops, we talk about it, and it's patch 12.13's time. Now here's the thing, we talk about usually changes that will affect Jinx, like other AD carries and stuff, because she has to fight those AD carries. This one's interesting for a specific reason. There actually is some AD carry changes in here, but one in particular has my attention, and we'll get into that because we're just gonna jump right into the video. So we'll skip champions that probably won't really affect Jinx at all, but one of the first ones that might is actually a Mumu, because he was being played as a support because after the changes in the preseason, he became very powerful. So just really quick, base armor decreased, E passive damage reduction now capped per instance. And the thing is, if you've not been seeing a lot of a Mumu in your games, you probably will see even less. But if you have been, and again, it might be in the support role, you might be seeing him a little bit less now because of this change, because basically his armor, he's got to be really tanky, for example, and the E passive damage is now capped per instance because, you know, basically he was kind of good at going in, especially with the double Q, staying alive, you pair him with a Callista even, depending, but he was kind of just good at being good. So, you know, there you go. Now, Caitlyn is an interesting one because last patch we talked about how they nerfed lethal tempo so they would nerf the problematic AD carries, right? Like lethal tempo was the reason why some of these AD carries were powerful in pro play. But now Caitlyn is actually getting a nerf afterwards, which is interesting. The AD growth is being decreased and the Q damage is being reduced. And this is my interesting one because if they're still hitting the AD carries that were strong anyways, will Jinx be facing nerfs in the future? In my opinion, no, because they even mentioned in this paragraph pro play, and in pro play, Jinx is still getting picked, not as much anymore, and she's also getting beaten more often than she was on the previous patch in pro play. So I think just the lethal tempo changes were enough for Jinx, but not Caitlyn, but we'll see, and that's why this is interesting. Like, with that being said, with the AD growth being decreased and the Q damage being reduced, if you are fighting a Caitlyn, getting harassed by a Caitlyn might be a little less easier for the Caitlyn to pull off now. If you're Jinx, use your rocket form to harass her back. You have range to fight her sniper, which is interesting. A rapid fire rocket launcher versus a rapid fire sniper rifle. That's, you know, League of Legends. It's not really realistic. Don't read into it too much, you know what I mean? If we scroll down some more, we do have like a Nami change. She is a support that you will see in the bottom lane from time to time. The passive initial bonus movement speed increased and now decays over duration. E on hit, base damage reduced. It's high time for a Nami adjustment. They're calling this an adjustment instead of a nerf or a buff. This should make the move speed boost on her passive much more noticeable, so you can stop taking your enchanter supports for granted. Just kidding, maybe. She's already pretty strong, so we're balancing out this slight buff with a small nerf to her E. So they're kind of shifting power around here. And the thing that I think they want to really kind of accomplish is, like they say, the bonus movement speed on the passive, but however the on hit on the E, the Tide's Caller Blessing, the one where you can bounce the water off of like enemies or allies, I believe that's the one, because the Q is the bubble, for example, and the E is like the straight up heal or the buff, I mean. So yeah, basically they want to be able to, so you're gonna be able to trade for a little less damage as the Nami herself, but you'll be able to buff up and move speed your opponents or your allies, like a Jinx. Jinx could always use move speed and stuff a bit easier now, so you know that might be a nice change in that space. If we scroll down a bit more, Senna, the passive soul drop rate, if you will. Passive soul drop rate for Senna's farm is actually being reduced. To buff Senna's Q last patch did make her support stronger as intended, and we talked about that. Like I called that. It's like that's why they were doing that change. They wanted support Senna to be stronger, but it also overwhelmingly increased her ADC win rate, which is not what they wanted. That's exactly not what they wanted to do that change for. So our goal isn't to make AD carry Senna weak, but instead to bring her two roles closer together in strength. So make them both, like for example, 51% win rate together instead of one being like 57 and the other one being like 48. They want to kind of try, and that's what happens when a champion's in multiple roles when it comes to pulling the levers to make things balanced and whatnot. You got to try and make all the win rates and all the roles kind of together as much as possible, and it makes it a bit more of a challenge versus say like the current new champion that's coming out, Renetta Glask. She's clearly just a support, and so that should make it a little bit easier. I mean, she has some crazy stuff. We're not going to talk about that in this video. It's a Jinx video, and as a support we will talk about her eventually with Jinx, probably next week even, but like that would be interesting. But like when you put a champion in just one role, it makes it easier to do that for that specifically. That being said, it is a overall nerf to ADC Senna. So in your games, if you've been getting slowed a lot because the Q was a buff to AD carry Senna as well, and you're like, hey, I just want to kite and be able to trade with the minigun and stuff, you should be able to, only because the damage should be reduced because the soul she is getting with the quick master, you know, the percent chance is going down from 10% to 2.77777 chance to spawn a Myth's Wraith. So, you know, that's almost a fifth, you know, of the power that it is right now. So you should be all right as Jinx now against a Senna if you see a Senna in your games. And of course, you got Zeri, the newest new champion. The base movement speed is being reduced, the fully charged basic attack damage is decreased, the Arcane lightning damage decreased, and can now critically strike. Now, the reason I didn't talk about, like, usually when a new champion comes out, I talk about like a Jinx versus them or how they interact with Jinx if they're on the same team even. The reason I haven't talked about Zeri yet too much is because I feel like she's kind of actually in multiple places, and I don't know if she's like definitively in one enough yet for me to go like, oh, hey, this is where we're going to talk about her, or this is what we're going to talk about going against her, right? I feel like overall, kind of look at the trailer video and stuff and see just basically what Zeri does as a champion. Zeri. I've heard multiple pronunciations. And then act accordingly as Jinx, you know, like ward walls if you think she's going to be coming after you as a jungler and coming over this wall really fast, right? It's like, okay, make sure it's warded up on the other side of it so you can see her like skating over it from like a mile away, and things like that, of course. Have your flame chompers ready and etc, etc. But her movement speed is going down. She's now as slow as Jinx's, so there you go. There's some bug fixes on the champion too. Items, mythic fighter items, you don't build those as Jinx unless you're doing some really crazy off-meta stuff, which do you. I'm not going to stop you. I think off-meta can be pretty cool sometimes. And then there's quality of life changes. Now, really quick, as usual, we'll talk about skins. Crystal Rose Akshan, Crystal Rose Janna, and Wither Rose Elise are coming out. So you might see more Janna in your bot games, like as in bottom lane with you, supporting you or going against you. Between the Janna changes that are coming, and then the Janna skin, of course, people are just going to want to play that champion more. Janna mains, all like 5 of them after the changes a couple years ago that kind of gutted her a little bit. But yeah, that's it for the patch 12.3 notes. Things that might affect Jinx to watch out for. So like Enchantress supports, you might, if you've been playing with tank supports, like even a Moo, but probably more like Braum, Thresh, Leona stuff, you might be seeing the Enchantress coming in more. And if you're someone that actually likes playing with Enchantress more as Jinx, this is probably going to start be the beginning of the patch for you, seeing stuff like that. Again, until Renetta Glass comes out, the patch afterwards. And then that's going to be completely interesting and completely shake things up yet again. So that's going to be all for this video. Let's get you out of here and on with your day. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, the actual subscribe button. But I don't know which video will be next, because I can have a lot of kinks. So until next time, take care. GG, get jinxed. Thank you for watching, and enjoy pizza responsibly.